Who told you that nonsense? Or have you just humiliated yourself on national radio?
No, not at all. And
so who told you then?
Perhaps, James,
who told you, Jim?
To some of your colleagues.
Possibly I do, Jim, but I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you at the moment. So who gave you this false information upon which you've based your entire support for a racist policy?
It's not, James, it's not.
Welcome back to Reed's British Takes. What you just heard is a serving member of the British military defending the Rwanda scheme on national radio and hiding behind the Official Secrets Act to avoid admitting he's wrong. Because here's the thing. Jim believes refugees sent to Rwanda get flown back to Britain if their claim succeeds. They don't. They stay in Rwanda. That's the whole point of the scheme. And when James O'Brien tells him this, he doesn't back down. He insists his superiors told him. He talks about official paperwork that doesn't exist. This isn't really about Rwanda. It's about how someone can build their entire position on information that's simply false and cling to it even when they're shown the truth live on air. Let's watch the whole thing together, and let me know where you're watching from in the comments.
Jim's in Watford. Jim, what would you like to say?
Hello, James. Well, one potential way of looking at this is, yes, we've got immigration into this country. We've got to offer these people a very safe and secure way of seeking asylum and going through the natural process then of whether they're legitimate or not. But perhaps one element to look at here is purely the cost of it. And by all accounts, it's costing £5 million a day. So £5 million a day, 365 days in the year, that's just under £2 billion. So when you take the defence budget,
what's costing that?
So by all accounts, the government is.
Well, what do you say by all accounts? I don't mean which accounts.
Well, the government actually says that immigration costs £5 million a day.
No, it doesn't. I mean, immigration is a net positive for the British economy. You must be talking about a specific.
No, looking after asylum seekers.
Well, that's nothing to do with immigration, is it? Immigration is everybody who wasn't born here but currently works here, and the financial contribution that they make to the country. So, if you want to, by all accounts, we'd have to do a calculation there, wouldn't we? And also, I'm very much in favour of letting asylum seekers work, as they are permitted to do in other countries, in which case the cost becomes zero overnight. So we've solved that problem.
I have no problem with that. If once they've actually proved who they are and what they are, because our borders aren't.
They can work. They can work while the application is being processed.
Well, I work in the military.
In other countries.
Well, I work in the military, and part of my role is to keep this country safe.
Yes.
So by doing that, when you're actually seeing people actually rolling up on your doorsteps without any paperwork, and there is a huge amount of military.
But they're not going to go through the application process, are they? Under your scheme, they're just going to disappear into the black economy, and that of course won't cost the country anything.
Not at all. But anybody that's arriving in this country without paperwork, that's seeking asylum, for instance, we need to put them through a process. Now, one way of looking at this, what success could be like, is to reduce the cost of that.
Well, you keep going on about this, but the cost of sending them to Rwanda, as opposed to letting them work while they're being processed here, is going to be immeasurably higher.
Well,
I mean, I'm sure you don't mean to, but you sound like someone who's desperately trying to come up with a theory that doesn't sound callous and racist to justify something that actually appeals to you on a more base level. But I'm sure you're not. No, absolutely. I'm categorically sure you're not. I'm just warning you that that's what you sound like.
It's just one way of looking at it.
But it isn't, though, is it? We've just established that this is a pointless argument, which is why it sounds a little bit like a fig leaf designed to disguise something uglier, because you can reduce the costs of asylum applications overnight by letting asylum applicants work and earn a crust and even pay perhaps some taxes. And the cost of sending them to Rwanda, if there are 5 people on the plane tonight, is going to be £100,000 per capita. So how does that save us money?
But that's assuming those people that are arriving in this country without any paperwork.
Well, you keep saying that they're arriving without any paperwork. So what do we do? This Iranian fellow, this Iranian policeman, presumably arrived with his Iranian passport, and they're trying to deport him. So again, it's one of those figures of speech that I keep hearing from people who seem to be desperately trying to sound, well, that's Not beat
But
about
in
the
the
bush,
first-
Jim. It's like a phrase that's used by people who are desperate to pretend they're not just racist. So what do we do with this Iranian police officer? He's got his passport with him. Why are you talking about people who haven't got any papers when he was supposed to be on the plane today?
Well, once you've established who and what they are, but you firstly need to establish who and what they are.
Well, that's what we do. That's the
Is he an
asylum
Iranian?
application
Is he an Ira-
process.
Yes.
And he's
And
still
what
getting
I'm saying-
deported.
Well, you're not being deported.
Mate, his ticket was cancelled yesterday. If it wasn't for those lefty lawyers, he'd be in Rwanda tonight.
They're not deporting them. What they were actually doing is moving them off country into a safe place while they actually go through their process of seeking asylum in this country.
Yeah, and if it succeeds, no, Jim, you've misunderstood that as well. If the application succeeds, they stay in Rwanda, Jim.
No, they have. Well, that's not what my understanding. And my
I
understanding
don't,
is they
mate,
have a
with
right.
respect, I don't care what your understanding is. I deal in the facts. If the application is successful, they stay in Rwanda. So your whole support for this scheme is based upon ignorance.
I wouldn't say that at all, James.
Well, what would you say? How would you describe thinking something is true that categorically isn't? What word do you prefer? Because I'm keen to be generous.
Well, you're telling me now something that is different to what I've been instructed about, which is the fact.
Well, who
that
instructed
they
you,
are going-
Jim?
Well, process are part of my job, so.
Yeah, who instructed you that the people who successfully apply for asylum in Rwanda get flown straight back to Britain?
No, they have a right. Then, if they're given.
No,
if
they
are
don't,
given
Jim.
British-
So, but who instructed you this? Because if this is something that people in the British military are being instructed about, and it's categorically wrong, I'm 100% confident of that. We've got quite a big story on our hands, and I'll have to alert the news desk. So who told you that the successful applicants can come back to Britain?
James, I can't go into that. But
Oh, you have to, Jim. Seriously. It's all right. I've signed the Official Secrets Act.
So have I. So
Yeah, so
I
who
think we
told
must
you
leave it
that,
there,
Jim?
James?
Who told you that nonsense? Or have you just humiliated yourself on national radio?
No, not at all. And
So who
need to
told you
listen
then?
perhaps, James,
Who
you need
told
to
you,
listen
Jim?
to some of your colleagues.
Possibly I
saying
do, Jim,
something
but I'm
very
listening to
different
you. I'm listening to you at the moment. So who gave you this false information upon which you've based your entire support for a racist policy?
It's not, James, it's not a racist policy.
Mate, you
That's
didn't know
your
what the
take.
policy was until I told you 3 minutes ago. How can you even have an opinion on it?
Well, I've been told the policy is
By
something
who?
very different.
Who told you that?
My superiors.
Now you're lying.
I'm not lying, James.
Okay, so who told you that successful applications in Rwanda, just give me the sort of job description of what they do or the rank.
James, this is just coming down through paperwork in how
Can I see the
part of-
paperwork?
No, you can't see the paperwork.
Because it doesn't exist, Jim. Nor can you. It's imaginary paperwork.
James, listen,
I have listened. That's the problem, Jim. If I hadn't, you might have got away with some of this. But here you are, on a line.
not at all.
The lips are
James,
moving.
This is part of a conversation, James. You're saying one thing.
No. I'm telling you the facts, and you're now spluttering inanely.
I'm not sputtering inanely.
Oh, no, you are. Again, that's another fact.
Not at all.
So, final chance. Who gave you the duff information about this?
James, it's duff in your opinion and
It's
your
not
opinion
it's
only.
not an opinion, Jim. It's written down in law.
James, it's not written in law.
Okay, Jim. You going to tell me who told you?
No.
Have a great day, mate.
And you. Bye-bye.
Right. Let's talk about what just happened there. A serving member of the military rang in to defend the Rwanda scheme, and he sounded reasonable at first. Calm, measured. He talked about cost. £5 million a day, he said. He framed the whole thing as simple economics. We have to do something, and this saves money. Except it doesn't. And James O'Brien took that argument apart in about 30 seconds. Because if cost is really the concern, there's an obvious answer staring everyone in the face. Let asylum seekers work while their claims are processed, like they're allowed to in other countries, and the cost doesn't just go down, it disappears. They earn, they pay tax, they stop being a burden on the state overnight, whereas flying a handful of people to Rwanda costs around £100,000 per person. So the cost argument isn't just weak, it's the exact opposite of the truth. And that's when James said the thing that clearly stung. that Jim sounded like someone desperately searching for a respectable-sounding reason to justify something that appeals to him on a much uglier level. The cost argument as a fig leaf, a way to dress something up so it doesn't sound callous or racist. But here's where it goes from awkward to genuinely revealing. Because Jim then makes a claim of fact. He says that refugees who successfully claim asylum after being sent to Rwanda get to come back to Britain. And that's just false. Categorically false. The entire point of the scheme is that they stay in Rwanda. Permanently. That's not James's opinion. It's how the policy works. And does Jim accept it? No. He says his superiors told him. He says it came down through paperwork. He says he's in the military and this is part of his job. And when James quite reasonably says, hang on, if British military personnel are being officially instructed in something that is flatly untrue, that's a serious story. Who told you this? Jim's answer is to hide behind the Official Secrets Act. Think about that. A man defending a government policy on the radio, who, the moment he's asked to back up his central claim, retreats into national security secrecy. Not because there's a secret, but because it's the only exit left when you've been caught not knowing what you're talking about. The paperwork he mentioned doesn't exist. James called it perfectly. Imaginary paperwork. Now here's why this matters, and why it isn't really about Jim, or even about Rwanda. Because Jim is not a stupid man. He's not a bad man. He clearly believes he's doing the right thing. But somewhere along the line, he was handed a version of reality that was false, and he absorbed it completely, and he built a political opinion on top of it without ever once checking whether the foundation was real. And when the truth arrived, it bounced straight off. Because by then the belief wasn't about facts anymore. It was about identity. About being the kind of person who supports this kind of policy. And that is exactly how this works now. You don't need to convince people with true things. You just need to hand them something that confirms what they already want to feel and let them carry it from there. Jim didn't lie to James, not really. Someone or something lied to Jim. And he never thought to question it because it told him what he wanted to hear. The most revealing moment wasn't the Official Secrets Act. It was the fact that he genuinely didn't know what the policy he was defending actually did until James told him, live on air, 3 minutes into the call. So tell me what you think. Was it the imaginary paperwork or the Official Secrets Act dodge that got you? Let me know in the comments. And if this made you think, share it with someone who needs to see it. That's where I am on it. See you tomorrow.